everybody that works underneath you is always watching you, right? All right, and it's not one of those things of do what I say, not what I do. With parenting, it's very much so they're going to do what they see you do,
Oh
right?
yeah.
So if they're going to see that you're active, with PTA organizations and supporting the community and stuff like that, they see that.
Welcome to the Business of Parenting podcast. Tune in as we discuss the principles of successful parenting as a business professional. Here's your host, Jason Harris.
How do you find the balance, all right, between being, maintaining that business of parenting, but still wanting to be the cool parent? This is the rabbit hole I want to go down, but I'd love to kind of get your thoughts on this. How do we maintain that balance?
So in the automotive business, sometimes you can be the cool dad because you've always got the new cars. And sometimes that's one of the things that, you have the benefit of being into, or, as we discussed earlier, the perks of business ownership, right? So, if you're that parent that, always has, if you're the GM of a dealership, whether it's new car, used car, whatever it is, and you always get the pick of the litter, you can always drive the nicest, coolest product. Sometimes the children will say, okay, you're the cool dad. And sometimes their friends will say that, you're the cool dad because you have things that maybe they're not able to grasp at their level, right? So sometimes that's part of you being the cool dad. Sometimes it's part of you having the ability to go on field trips, or let's say, as a business owner, if you're a local business owner and you got access to, let's say you've donated money to the shopping mall, and the shopping mall always says, okay, we're going to open up the mall early for you and the kids to come in there. Little bitty stuff like that. Or let's say you donate to a local restaurant and you're always able to eat at a discount price, or, like we talked about hotel points. Those are things that are going to make you the cool dad because of the perks or ownership.
That's true.
But I think also it goes into, let's say, also letting the children know that that's not all of who you are. Yes, that's a benefit of, owning and working at a car dealership, when the new Suburban comes out, or let's say the new Corvette or the Hellcat or whatever it is, or, and when I was, working for one OEM, got the opportunity to drive the Jeep where you can take the doors and the roof off, things of that nature, right? So those things are part of the cool things that you get to have, that the children can get the opportunity to see. The memberships in your PTAs and your men's clubs or your parent organizations, a lot of that is to show the other businesses that are helping develop the children, whether it's the schools or it's some of the sports teams or the sports organizations, that you value the time that they put into your children as well. Because also, as we've said, it takes a village to raise a child. So, your teacher is doing one thing and your coach is doing another thing. And let's say your gym instructor is doing another thing. And then you have a dance instructor that's doing another thing, or maybe it's martial arts or something like that. So not only are you, paying money, because that's what these things cost, to get your children involved in these activities, but there's also a value in showing these other businesses how, I use the term collaborative, you can be with more than just your time. Are you volunteering at maybe a church? Are you volunteering at doing things of that nature? My children will hate me for saying this, but there were times where we went to the public library. This was obviously before COVID, when they were younger. We would go to the library, and the library had free internet, and we would do homework, and I would have my computer. We would do things at the library just to show what resources are available. And, one of the children said, okay, they want to look at books about military. And then one of the other children, they said, okay, every time we go there, they got an anime book, because that's what she was into. But you learn to find out what other things that the kids are involved in by collaborating with other businesses, because at the end of the day, not every child is going to take or grasp the full intent of the automotive business that we're in. They may say, okay, that's what you're doing.
It all
I want to do it.
It's all about examples, right? We talk about this in business all the time. Right? It's just, everybody that works underneath you is always watching you, right? All right. And it's not one of those things of do what I say, not what I do. With parenting, it's very much so they're going to do what they see you do. right?
Yeah.
So, if they're going to see that you're active, with, PTA organizations and supporting the community and stuff like that, they see that, and to your point, we were talking about business perks. That's another thing. That's 100% that they see, right? But it's the way we approach those types of things. Those are the examples that have to be set. And I think that's kind of something that we always have to keep in mind. They are always watching. Always bloody watching. I swear they have, like we always talk about, your parents always said, hey, I got eyes behind my head. I swear my kids have eyes behind their heads, right? Because they see it all. They see, look, you're 100% right. Like, I love the fact you brought up the restaurant thing. Like, there's a restaurant that my marketing agency worked with, and we did a bunch of work with them. So now every time we go in there, they're like, oh, the VIPs are here.
Right.
Let me show you to your table. I'll bring you your no charge appetizers. And they think it's funny. I think they're funny, but they're almost to the point where like, oh, it's a big shot, stuff like that, right? But I think it's how we react to those are the big things, right? I see the same thing now I get with travel points, right? Like, because I travel a lot, I accumulate a lot of points, and it's like, you go to a hotel, well, thank you for being a platinum member, and they think they don't necessarily understand, I think, at that age, what it means to have those business perks. And then also, to your point about PTA meetings and other community stuff, what does it mean to be involved like that? And you almost kind of have to balance those things out. They need to be able to see it. It's like, if they don't see it and you don't talk about it, then it's like, why are you involved in PTA? If you don't tell them why you're involved with it and what your goal is, they're not going to know. All right. If they see you go to a business and they're treating you differently and they move you to a different seat or something like that, or whatever the hell it is, like, if we don't have those conversations with it, they're left to their own to try to figure that one out. And their minds will go in all kinds of different places. They just, they just assume that they get those perks everywhere they go. It's not
Exactly.
But look, if we're talking community involvement, we're talking about business perks, it all kind of comes down to just how we lead by example. All right.
Thanks for tuning in to the Business of Parenting podcast with your host, Jason Harris. Don't want to miss new content? Be sure to check out the full podcast library at strategywithjason.com to stay in the know. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Happy podcasting.